My name is Lauren.
And I'm Callie.
And this is the Book Common Room podcast. Hi, welcome back to another episode of the Book Common Room podcast. I cannot believe it is August.
Yeah.
We're in the month of August.
We're at like the almost burr months.
Oh, that's crazy. You're right.
Uh-huh.
Fall. We love fall.
We love fall. Fall's my favorite.
Yes. And before we get into the book of this month, what have you been reading, Callie?
What have I been reading? Well, okay, I have been reading stuff that we're going to be reading later in the year. So I don't know if you want me to start talking about it now, or if we want to save it.
I don't know.
We can save it.
Okay.
We'll save it.
We'll eventually talk more about these books.
Yeah, but we want to come out with we're debating whether or not to come out with a schedule or not. It's a work in progress.
Yes.
But I was just too excited. So I guess I'm very sorry. I'm putting you guys on edge.
Are you reading our
October book? Well, because I got a Kindle and I got Kindle Unlimited, and this whole book series is free on Kindle Unlimited.
Right.
And so I just got really excited. So that's mostly what I've been reading. But to actually talk about a book, I finished The Road since we last spoke. And I will say I gave it 5 stars. Probably the best book I've ever read. But it was so devastating. It's one of those where I would definitely look up content warnings.
Oh.
Because I don't know. Well, it's about a dad and a son, right? In this apocalyptic world. And it's about the horrors of humanity.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've consumed content like that in the past, and I have been fine with it. I love zombie stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I don't know. It was just different. And I think since the son, he's 8 years old, that it was just so sad that I got to the end and I was like, that was a lot. So I don't know. Read it if you want to, but be wary. I still loved it. I think it was worth it. Yeah, I'm trying to think if I read anything else. Nope, that's about it. I've just been obsessed with K-pop Demon Hunters. So.
Who hasn't? Who hasn't? Even if you're not on the internet, you watch that and you're like, this is my new obsession.
It's so good.
It's so good.
What about you?
It. Well, I read the book of the month.
Good job.
Thank you.
We'll give you some applause.
I read this.
Uh-huh.
I've been reading The Great Alone. I finally restarted that. I feel like I just have 3 different books I'm reading at the same time. And I still have not finished Onyx Storm.
That's crazy. You started that at the beginning of the year.
Yep. I felt like I had such a good flow of all these books at the beginning of the year, and then I got stuck on that one because I think we had all these series we were preparing for earlier this year.
We read a lot.
So I paused, and now I'm like, I have forgotten everything.
You have been reading.
So there's been reading.
But
there hasn't been completion of books.
That's okay.
I kind of have hit a lull for the past 2 months, but we'll get back to it.
I feel like I always go back to books I already know I like. So I guess I'm also reading the 3rd book in the Farseer trilogy, which I've already read. But if I want to read, but I don't know what to read, I'll just read one of those.
That's smart. Okay.
And I'll even read a couple chapters, and that'll fill it enough for me that I feel like I can read something else. I don't know though.
I need to try that.
It's just me.
My thing is, my attention span lately hasn't been great. So it's I'll sit and I'll be like, I'm bored now.
Something else.
Which I don't know how to fix that, but it'll be okay.
Okay.
I guess probably reading books that I know that I love.
Something that'll just grab your attention.
Yeah, something like that. But I did read the book, and it was great.
I mean, it's a quick book. It is something that will catch your attention.
Yes.
For a good 10 minutes.
You literally could finish it in less than half an hour.
Well, yeah, I was taking notes while I was reading it this past time. I reread it last night, and I think it took me 30 minutes, but I was taking notes. But before that, I think it takes me 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, you can just flip through. And I'm like, man, maybe I should write a children's book.
Do it. I think it'd be so
I
good.
think children's books are so cool. Anyways, I'm not an artist though, so that's the other
Well, but
thing.
that's okay. You just find an artist
Yeah.
and you do it together.
Out there, someone.
Let's
have a collab or something.
Let's collab.
Anyways, but yeah, books that we've been reading lately. But let's hop into the book of the month, which was The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
I was practicing the title yesterday so I could make sure I could get it right each time.
Yeah.
Because I always forget the order.
Yeah, same. I have to I think how it goes, I think it's in the order that you meet the characters.
Yeah, that's how I was
So
able
that's
to
why I
remember.
was like at first I could never remember, but then when I was reading the book, I was like, oh, this is how they're introduced
Mm-hmm.
in the story. That's why they're ordered that way.
Yeah.
By Charles Pierre. Is that how you say his?
Probably.
Okay, and then it's
Mackesy.
Yeah, Charles Mackesy. Charles Pierre Mackesy. You probably don't say the S.
I think it's just Pierre.
Yeah.
Sounds
Pierre.
French.
Yeah. If you wanted to jump into him, because I know that you did a lot of good research on him.
Yeah,
Feel
sure.
free
I can
to.
do that.
But yeah, we wanted to kind of talk about who is Charlie Mackesy.
Who is Charlie? So he was born December 11th. So he's a winter baby. He is a British artist, illustrator, and author of The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Heron, which was published in 2019. He began his career as a cartoonist for The Spectator. I don't know what this was. It's a British thing. So for our American listeners out there, it's a weekly magazine that focuses on political, cultural commentary, and apparently it's the oldest surviving magazine ever that's out there.
Really?
Yeah. When I was looking into it, it kind of seems like it's like the New York Times or the Washington Post type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just post a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
So he was probably just asked and commissioned to draw different things for it.
That's cool.
But he's done tons of stuff. He's featured in movies. Let's see here, like, was it Love Actually?
Love Actually.
Yeah, he did like set designs for Love Actually. But he has done like different bronze sculptures. We could put them up on the screen. I found some examples and they're super cool. And you can find those basically all around London.
That's so cool.
But he's done, let's see here, I gave a list. Books, private collections, galleries, magazine covers. His art can be seen in school classrooms, cafes, women's safe houses, churches, prisons, hospitals. Basically, he's everywhere.
Wide range.
In Britain. I think he's like a big staple author.
Mm-hmm.
Artist, that's what I meant. Artist. I had never heard of him, so here we are.
Yeah, I was gonna say what's so funny about this book is it came out in 2019, but I don't know why, but I feel like I've known about this book for a long time.
I thought it was older than 2019.
Yeah,
I thought it was a classic.
Yeah, like I remember. This is so weird, but I feel like I was a kid and remember seeing this cover.
Interesting.
But it didn't exist.
No.
So this book feels like it has existed for a long time for me when it actually hasn't. Pretty recent.
Well, I feel like the art is pretty simple. It gives kind of like Winnie the Pooh-esque vibes.
Yeah, and like the cursive. I feel like the cursive can throw people off.
Yeah.
Because like I think children's books are just classically looked at as like super simplified.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I would say like it's simple, but it is like there is a complexity to it.
There is a complexity, yeah. You can read it. Well, in his introduction, he says this is for either 8-year-olds or 88.
I wrote that down. I literally thought the same thing. Yeah, and he was like, yeah, this is for everyone, 8 to 80. Sometimes I feel like both is what he said. That's so awesome.
I mean, we're 26, and I read it, and I was like, I'm touched by this. This spoke to my soul.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, oh,
we love it.
what the heck?
Let's see here. What are other things about him? Oh, so that's kind of like basically just a simple rundown of who he is. This book specifically, is super, super popular. This book also holds the record for the most consecutive weeks on the New York Times nonfiction chart, which is cool. I found that on his website, so it must be true.
Yeah.
But go him, that's pretty awesome. And then, kind of just the last thing about him is apparently he co-runs, how did we say it? Mama Buki?
Bucci?
It's BUCI,
Yeah.
which is a honey social enterprise in Zambia that helps families of low and no income become beekeepers.
Yeah, that's dope.
Which I think is really cute.
He's just like, let's do this.
Let's do this. And then he lives between Brixton and Suffolk with his dog Barney. All of the English people out there, British people, are gonna cringe at my pronunciation of those places.
Yeah, it's okay. They already make fun of us. So
It's okay. But he seems just to be like this well-known, well-rounded artist, and that just, it seems like he just wants to do good.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. I think it speaks a lot to a person who has that kind of range, who's just like, art is made for everybody.
Yeah.
Writing is made for everybody.
One of the other things in his introduction that I liked was he did question. He's like, why, like, who am I to write a children's story and put it out there for people to read? Like, who am I to do this?
Yeah.
And he's like, but then also, yeah, why wouldn't I do it? Maybe I have something to say. Maybe art could touch people. So I should just do it. And you know what? If it helps people, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I for me, it did.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been impacted by both his art and his writing. And so I really appreciate that.
I feel like I think that all the time though. Like, who am I to sit down and like say things?
Yeah. Like who cares what I have to say about this?
Right?
Or like what I have to say. But at the same time, I'm so grateful for the people that do like put their ideas out there or their experiences. Because then I always feel like I grow from it, I learn from it, and so I mean, you always have the haters out there,
that's normal.
but also like you have a voice and you should use it. So.
I agree. I love it.
So cool. Way to go, Charlie. Way to go, Charlie. That like leads us into kind of the genre breakdown of children's books. Like that's who Charlie is, but like he chose the medium of a children's story to like do his art and his stories, so I think because he was like, this is for everybody, it needs to be also for kids. And I don't know, like I feel like, I mean, like I think it's for people that are 7 or 8 and up, like he said, because they do have like, he does have things that I'm like, this would go over, I think could go over anybody's head.
Oh yeah.
Like if you don't, like if you're not paying attention, because it just has like concepts of like love and loss and I don't know, like some of the complex feelings that I feel like you become aware of more when you're older. And but the fact that like 8-year-olds are reading this, I thought that was so interesting. So it made me wonder like what makes a children's book. And like I know that you provided like a basic definition that you could probably just find where it's like children's literature or juvenile literature includes stories, books, magazines, and poems that are created for children. So simply put, it's like children's books are made for children.
Yeah. And that includes like anything, fantasy, nonfiction, fiction, just anything that's made for kids
is children's books.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. So straightforward. It's not like it has like a certain criteria it needs to follow, other than the fact that it's made deliberately for a certain age range for children.
Yeah.
But I was doing a little deep dive because I just think children's books are so important, and I do think they're important to read even as adults.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And I think a lot of people could agree with that, because I think, like we said, we always like have books that we go back to, and sometimes we go back to the books that we remember as kids because they just made us so happy.
Yeah.
But I found this this resource that talks about like the origins of kid books and how the first children books in English were instruction manuals for good behavior.
That's funny.
And something from I pulled this from like a BBC article by an author who writes children's books and nonfiction. Her name is Catherine Rental. She said that one of her favorite quotes from these like early children's books comes from, it's called the Baby's Book. The spelling is really harsh because it's from like a manuscript in 1475, so it's like Middle English.
I was about to say this. I was reading it. I'm like, this is not our English.
No, it's middle or old.
Yeah. Can you read it in the Middle English dialect?
No.
Have you heard people do it? It's
Yes.
cool.
I had a professor to do it, and I was like,
Well, it's almost like Irish, Scottish, and like kind of Southern.
it's probably not that hard if you just get.
Well, because
like,
you pronounce everything.
Also, I learned, this is so random.
Yeah,
but
this is tangent, but it's okay.
But I remember, because like we would go to the library to their special collections, and like they would pull out books that were so old, and like books that were kept by monks, and you would read and you would think it was an F, but it was an S or something like that. It was just like whatever was easiest for them to write quickly. And so some letters are just like not pronounced the way you think it is in modern English, just because they were writing it. They were record keepers and they needed to be quick when they wrote. And so their letters just look different. I might have switched it. It might have been an F looks like an S, just because I didn't have enough time to do the little.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it's so interesting. Anyway, so she said that her favorite, like quote or like tone of like a children's book came from this manuscript of 1475 called The Baby's Book, and it said, "Oh babies young, my book only is made for your learning. The text is a monumental list of instructions in verse from your nose, your teeth, your nails. Keep at your meat, for so teaches the wise." And I'm just like, that's so interesting. Like the first recorded, I guess, book for children was just like, this is how you behave.
Yeah.
This is how you holistically, as a person, as a whole person, you need to be doing this.
I also feel like a lot of the like children, like the folk tales and fairy tale type stories, most of them are warnings. Like, don't do this, don't sneak out when
the fairies
you're
get
little.
Yeah, I feel like that's a lot of
Cautionary
folklore.
tales.
Yeah, a lot of folklore is like catered towards children. Like you think of Little Red Riding Hood, and like all of those are like cautionary tales for children. And so a lot of it is just instructional or like didactic. Like there's a message they want you to pull from it.
Now that I think about it, it's kind of messed up.
Oh
to,
yeah,
like, scare your kid
manipulate
out
your
of like doing stuff. I mean, it works, but
it's so true.
But it's also kind of like Santa Claus.
Like you need to listen to your parents.
Like Santa Claus is also kind of one of those, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, that's kind of messed up now that I think about it.
Like there's or like I don't know, like I think about a lot of like the folk tales and myths and legends, you know, growing up, and I think of like in Coco, the movie Coco, there's that song La Llorona, and that whole story is messed up because it's like, oh, don't be out late at night or she's gonna get you.
Yeah,
she's gonna drown you in the river. And so I'm like, that is pretty scary.
I feel like it would be cool to go to like different countries and learn what like their oldest children's story is.
Yeah,
that just like orally got spread around.
Yeah.
Because I know like Ireland, I feel like Irish folk stories are creepy.
Oh,
and Norwegian stories, those are creepy.
Yeah.
And like Japan has like a lot of really scary stories that they tell their kids.
Oh yeah, Japan is very dark too.
Yeah.
So I'm like, they don't shy away from the hard subjects for kids. I'm like, all right,
You do, I guess.
I know. Like I think of Studio Ghibli movies.
Oh yeah.
Like Studio Ghibli movies are for kids, but they grapple with like very deep stuff, especially Grave of the Fireflies. Like that is a movie, like I don't know, similar to you about like The Road. Like 10 out of 10 storytelling, I just will never go back to it.
No.
Because
it's so devastating.
Once was all I needed.
Yeah.
But like kids technically are meant to watch that.
Yeah.
And that's really crazy.
I don't know if I would show it to my children
I know.
at a young age. Maybe when they're older, if they choose to.
Yeah. And that's the other thing too, is like a lot of this has to do with like parental control, like
Yeah.
there's a level of parental control. But it is interesting to me because I feel like a lot of these stories don't shy away from things that I feel like people really kind of baby kids with today.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I feel like we kind of, I don't know, I feel like we baby our children a little bit more from these subjects, as you can tell, like, from these kinds of books and stories to, like, I don't know, sometimes the books you find in the children's section. I don't know. Anyways.
I feel like children can handle more than you think, because you don't want to obviously traumatize your kid.
No.
But I think they can grasp more.
Yeah.
Kids are smart.
Kids are smart. I do feel like I was traumatized as a youth, though, with the movies.
What movies?
Like The Land Before Time.
Oh, well, that movie's just unsettling.
Like, I was so upset by that.
It's so sad.
Or, like, my sister loved The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Okay.
That movie horrified me.
Yeah, that one's really intense.
Yeah, and I was like, so I felt like there was a time where we were being traumatized, but at the same time, like, I felt like I learned a lot from those stories because they didn't baby me, I guess.
That's
Whereas now, I feel like you have, like, the perfect family unit, and, like, you have stability, emotional regulation, which is probably a good thing, but also, I do think it's important to be able to know that kids can
The
handle
Lion
it a little bit
King?
more. Oh my gosh.
Have you seen those videos of those kids, like, being shown The Lion King for the first time, and they're, like, 6, and, like, just can't handle it? It always makes me cry, because I remember watching it when I was that age and being like, what's going on?
Oh,
Why is
my
this
gosh.
happening?
And Scar manipulating little Simba to be like, this is your fault.
Uh-huh. And as a kid, I didn't get that at all. I didn't get that until I was older, but I was like, wow.
Dad.
So sad.
Yeah, that was insane. But back to Rundle's article with regards to children's fiction, the importance of children's fiction, and, like, adults reading children's fiction. She said that it helps us refine things we may not even know we have lost. And I really liked that.
Sounds like something Tolkien would say.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Because The Hobbit is like a children's book.
It is a children's book.
So, and it deals with good and evil, but also has a lot of nuances in between. But I really liked that. I like this idea that there's, like, this coming back, and, like, being an adult has this forgetting for some reason. But being a child, it's like, I don't know, you're being exposed to these things for the first time, and then as you grow older, you forget a lot of things, and so being able to come back is, I like that idea about children's books as a way of coming back. And I'm just gonna read, like, more of this article because I just feel like she put it very well, like, with regards to the power of children's books. And I like it because she is a children's book author, so she kind of writes her perspective of writing, like, what is it like to be in the mind of an author who writes for kids. And she said, I've been writing children's fiction for more than 10 years now, and still I would hesitate to define it. But I do know with more certainty than I usually feel about anything what it is not. It is not exclusively for children. When I write for 2 people. Myself, age 12, and myself now, and the book must satisfy 2 distinct but connected appetites. My 12-year-old self wanted autonomy, peril, justice, food, and above all, a kind of density of atmosphere into which I could step and be engulfed. My adult self wants all those things, and also acknowledgments of fear, love, failure, of the rat that lives within the human heart. So what I try for when I write, failing often but trying, is to put down in as few words as I can the things that I most urgently and desperately want children to know and adults to remember. Those who write for children are trying to arm them for the life ahead with everything we can find that is true. And perhaps also secretly, to arm adults against those necessary compromises and necessary heartbreaks that life involves. To remind them that there are and always will be great sustaining truths to which we can return. There is, though, a sense among most adults that we should only read in one direction, because to do otherwise would be to regress or retreat, to demature. You spot the dog, battle past the two-headed monster, Peter and Jane, through Narnia, onto the Catcher in the Rye or Patrick Ness, and from there to adult fiction, where you remain, triumphant, never glancing back, because to glance back would be to lose ground.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I really liked that idea that children's books, like, because I feel like they are catered to kids, but I feel like they just also are meant to grow with you and for you to come back to, because I do feel like when I go back to children's books, I like remember a lot of the important feelings I felt as a kid.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's something therapeutic about that.
Oh, 100%.
But yeah.
I loved the part where she said that desperately want children to know and adults to remember. Because, as kids, you're trying to teach kids something new, but there is this sense of, like, life happens, and I feel like as you get older, like, little things like your birthday just isn't fun anymore. Because, like, when you're a kid, birthdays are so fun. It's all about you, which is the best. You get presents. Or, like, Christmas morning is always, like, this amazing thing. But I feel like as you get older, like, if you have crazy in-laws, like, Christmas might not be fun. Or just, like, anything, really. I feel like a lot of the magical things get lost.
Yeah.
So, as an adult, it's very important to go back and remember. Like, that magic isn't gone. I think it has been muted.
Yeah.
I think... like, reading just does that for me anyways. I think that's why I love fairy tales.
Yeah.
And, like, adult books that are kind of more fairy tale-esque. Because I think it brings me back to the, like, childness. Kylie talked about this in our last episode.
Yeah.
But there's this aspect of, as a kid, I had so much hope. Where did that go?
Yeah. That's so true. I also, like, it's funny that you say that, because I was, like, I remember being a kid and thinking about, like, life in the future, and I was like, man, everything's gonna change. Like, all my siblings are gonna move away. They're all gonna have, like, their own families. They're all gonna have their own careers. They're all gonna be doing their own thing, and it won't be the same anymore. And so, like, you get older, and Christmases and birthdays and, like, the little celebrations of life just kind of fade away in their magic. And I, like, talked to my parents about that, and they were like, it feels like that, but when you have kids, it comes back.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. Because they were like, yeah, because you're experiencing Christmas not from, like, your own eyes, but from the eyes of children.
Yeah.
And they're your children. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting, because I feel like that's, like, a similar thing. There's, like, this remembering of, like, I don't know, like, just how kids say weird things, or they just, how they, like, see presents, or get excited about things, or, this was super cute. My sister, she was with, like, her daughter had come back with, like, these Otter Pops. This might be a tangent, but I feel like it connects.
No, I like it.
Came back with Otter Pops, or, like, popsicles, and one of her sons was outside, and he's, like, 3. And his sister is, I think she's 9, 10. And so she had these popsicles, and he was like, oh, is one of those for me, your best friend? And
so
he's
cute.
like 3, and she's like, no, this is for my other friend. And he was devastated. He was like, oh my God, your best friend? What do you mean? And so my sister took him to the store, like the local grocery store, to pick out some Otter Pops, and he was getting some for him and his little brother, who he says is his best friend. And his little brother is, like, almost 2 now, and he's gonna be turning 4 soon. Anyways, so she was like, do you want these kinds or these kinds? And he just, like, slapped his heart, and he's like, ugh. Like, he had decision paralysis over popsicles. And I'm just like, there's just something about, I feel like that's how children's books are. Like, there's this coming back to and, like, remembering, being like, how simple things can be, and like those things like hope or magic, and those things can come back to us when we return to children's books.
Or even just like living in the moment, because
being present.
Like he wasn't worried about next week I'm not gonna have a popsicle, or next week something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All he cared about was right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a popsicle and I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
And like that's all he cared about.
Yeah. It's so cute. But anyways, that's kind of our spiel about like kind of breaking down children's books in the sense of like who they're for, but also like that they're so broad. I feel like children's books are very broad in the sense that like it's because it's for kids, it can really be for anyone. Like Legos, it says the age on there, but they're just like anyone can do them, not just kids.
Or Bluey.
Oh, oh yeah, Bluey is for the parents too, man.
I love Bluey.
It's for everybody.
It really is.
So good.
This is true.
And so this is like, now it just brings us to like the question, why do we tell children's stories? Because I feel like children's stories are some of the oldest stories we have.
Yeah.
Like they're instructional, they were didactic, and they were used to like be cautionary tales. Why do we still tell children's stories? Which I guess is like obvious because like today, like they're still kids and we want kids to read. But yeah,
that is a good question. Speaking of the road, I was thinking about this, and probably my favorite aspect of this book was they're on this road. Okay, that's literally the whole book. They're on this road, and they're trying to get from, I don't know where they're starting, but they're trying to get to the coast. And if they just get to the ocean, everything will get better. It's like the goal, right? And along the way, the father, his son, like I said, is 8, and he's telling children's stories, like trying to keep up hope and positivity, because everything around them is just horrible and bleak and gray. Everything's dead. Literally everything's dead. Like the grass doesn't grow, there's dust in the air, and his son is very obsessed with the concept of good versus evil and whether or not they're good or evil. Oh. Because based on the stories, they have done some stuff that the bad guys have done. So by the time he gets to the end of the book, this is kind of a spoiler, but I think it's okay. By the end of the book, the son has been traumatized. He's seen a lot of evil stuff. And his dad is like, hey, do you want me to tell you another story? And I'm just going to read this because I just thought it was so interesting. Hold on. Okay, so it says they're just sitting at this place. I'm not going to say where because that's a spoiler. But they're just having a conversation as they're sitting there. And so the dad starts and says, you have to talk to me, he said. I'm talking. Are you sure? I'm talking now. Do you want me to tell you a story? No. Why not? The boy looked at him and looked away. Why not? Those stories are not true. They don't have to be true, they're stories. Yes, but in the stories, they're always helping people, and we don't help people. Why don't you want me to tell a story? I don't want to. Okay, I don't have stories to tell. You could tell me a story about yourself. You already know all the stories about me. You were there. You have stories inside that I don't know about. You mean like dreams? Like dreams, or just things that you think about. Yeah, but stories are supposed to be happy. They don't have to be. You always tell happy stories. You don't have any happy ones? They're more like real life. But my stories are not. Your stories are not, no. The man watched him. Real life is pretty bad. Okay, so there's this idea of these children's stories that we tell. We kind of already talked about the Santa Claus, but they're just not real. So like, are we giving kids false hope? Because as you get older, you really learn that life is gray. And that there are things that are black and white, but that's few and far between. Yeah. So like, why do we keep telling kids these stories where real life is just not like that? Yes. Okay. So that's kind of what I was just thinking about, because as a 26-year-old right now, I more fall with the boy, where I'm like, I kind of want to read more about real life because I feel like that's more relevant. But then again, children's stories, I found so much hope and comfort in this. Yeah.
So, and everything that you're saying, like, but like to like Christmas and like the magic of Christmas and why we tell stories like Santa Claus, or Saint Nicholas or whatever. Yeah. Where it's like, is it all just false hope? It's like fake. It's not real. It makes me think about what we talked about in that Lord of the Rings episodes. The Lord of the Rings episodes where story, like what if the stories we read aren't just like an escape
Mm-hmm.
or a way to, like, for kids, like Rundle said, where they just want to be kind of engulfed, but a way back to ourselves, or like a moment where a story or a song made you feel more alive or more aware of your own reality. And so even though these things are fake or they're not real, there is a level of reality to them. And I think of that scene in Harry Potter. I don't know if it's in the book. Is it in the book where Harry's at King's Cross Station after he was killed?
Oh yeah.
by Voldemort?
Uh-huh.
And he...
Is this all real?
Or is this just inside of my head? And then Dumbledore is like, well, of course it's happening in your head. And then he's like, but why does that make it not real?
Mm-hmm.
So even though there's like this level of fiction and like myth, there is, I think, a level of reality to it because you're bringing yourself, a real person,
Mm-hmm.
into it. And I don't know, like, and it can remind us of things that make us happy or hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
I also feel like, as I was thinking about this question, like, I think my initial thought is wrong. I think that there is, like, the good and bad, or the good aspect of it especially, just isn't actually there because the world is actually gray. I actually think that's wrong.
Mm.
I think the beauty of children's books is it does show the good that is there.
Yeah.
And I think adults just need to be reminded that it does exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I loved this book, because I was like, oh, yeah, it is there. There is that hope there that sometimes I feel like I fall more into this road pit where I'm like, oh, it's just bleak, the world's awful, why should I care?
Yeah. Yeah.
I should care because it's actually out there. But
Yeah.
some, I feel like as an adult, it's just harder to find.
I totally agree with that.
But I think if you read kids these stories early on, and you, like, kids learn that, like, lesson earlier than later, it's easier to go back to.
Yeah.
It was kind of the consensus I came to.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love how this is like a, like, what is it? Stream of conscious.
Yeah.
Moment here.
I was writing in my
We're
notes.
coming at you live
in
with
my
our
journal.
developing thoughts.
I have this little reading journal that I have decided I want to take notes in, and I was just writing in it yesterday, and I started off and I was like, I remember the road, and it was really sad, and then I was like, actually no, that's wrong.
I'm wrong. You're always like...
Within the span of like 20 minutes.
Oh, I love that so much. Maybe we should have done this towards the beginning, but give like a premise of the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse.
Oh yeah.
But I kind of just want to give a premise as we go into this next question that probably will kind of end this episode. But this story centers around a boy, a mole, a fox, and a horse.
Yes.
But they each represent aspects of the human psyche.
Yes.
Which I didn't pick up on until then.
Oh, and the world that they're in is life.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's and which you kind of get as you go along. I feel like the horse especially brings up a lot about life. But that's kind of the premise of the story. And like we said, like this book is for whether you're 8 or 80, and we all feel both of those. But something I kind of wanted to explore to take us into like either like the benefits of reading for young children is that like this aspect of refinding things in children's books. How have we felt this? And like, I don't know, like how have children's fiction books taught us to read with an open heart? I guess. Like, I feel like that's something that children's books do a lot, is that they're a lot more open to things, I feel like. Or at least for me when I read them. Because this book opened my heart up. And tore it up! And then put it back together. It was so good. But
so good.
Anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts. Like, how have we felt that books have like helped us refind things that we've lost? Do we want to talk about that?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
I was just looking at it because I was thinking about the answer.
Yeah, well, I'm like, what has my personal experience, like, what have I found in, like, children's books? Honestly, I think this is very general. This is very specific.
Mm-hmm.
But when I go back and read, like, Harry Potter, or...
Which is a children's book.
It is a children's book. Or this other book, Mountain Meets the Moon, Where the Mountain Meets the Moon. And, like, those children's books have helped me, like, as an adult, who I very easily despair.
Mm-hmm.
A lot. I'm just like, man, the reality sucks. Like,
mm-hmm.
I don't just get to do, like, I don't just get to play all day like we used to. Like, now I don't really play at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I read these books again, I truly feel optimistic and
mm-hmm.
hopeful for the future.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm so glad that kids' books do that when they're reading them for the first time. And I lose that as an adult because I'm worried about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like reading those books helps me. It's like, I don't know, it's like a balm in a sense, like a healing balm to, like, recover from being an adult for a little bit. Because I do feel like I always feel more hope, and I'm like, I can do anything. Like, I can do anything I set my mind to. I'm like an adult. Like, when I was a kid, this is what I wanted. I wanted to have the freedom to drive and to, like, go where I wanted whenever I wanted.
You wanted to be older when you were young, and now that we're older, we want to be young.
Yeah, it's so funny how that works, and you're always wanting more and more and more, but then when you just go back to the kids' books, it's like all you really need are, like you already have, and it just, I don't know, that's how I feel about refinding things, I guess, through children's books.
I know, I'm trying to think of, like, a specific book that I read as a kid. I feel like most of the stuff that my parents read to me was, like, Dr. Seuss.
Cute.
Or, like, The Giving Tree.
Oh, that one's so good.
Or, what's the one? Like, I'll Love You Always.
Oh, yeah.
And the cover's the kid in the bathroom.
On the toilet?
On the toilet. What's that called?
I
don't remember, but my mom actually hated that book because it always made her cry.
Yeah.
So she would never read it out loud.
Well, because at the end, it's like the son is, like, caring for his mom.
Yeah, and she just didn't like reading it.
Yeah, it is quite sad.
My favorite one, though, that when I was thinking about this, what's it called? It's about the puppets and the stars.
Stars and the circles?
The stars and the circles, and you've got the main guy who's got no stars. Meets the girl puppet. She's got nothing. What is that called?
Puppets and Stars. I think this is written by Dick Van Dyke, actually.
Oh, is it?
Let me just find it. Because it's, like, about, like, being special or whatever. Nope, that's not. Oh, maybe it's not. Is it You Are Special?
Yeah, You Are Special.
You Are Special. Okay, it isn't by him. It's by Max Lucado.
So, yeah, that's okay. If you haven't read this book or aren't reading this to your kids, I think that's probably my favorite children's book, You Are Special. And because I always just remember thinking, like these people are so mean. He's just getting, like, circles, no stars. He's just ugly. But then at the end, like, you are special, even if you're not, like, this perfect. Like, we could have honestly done that book for this episode, too.
Yeah.
Because it's got a cool history. The author wrote it for Chinese kids who were in orphanages. Because I don't know how true this is now, but at least when it was written, a lot of Chinese children, if they were born, like, with autism or something like that, usually they would get sent to just, like, an orphanage.
Yeah.
They were seen as lesser than. And so he wrote this book for those children, basically, just to, like, say, like, even if you have disabilities or really anything, like, you're still special and you're still loved. And I just think that, like, simple concept of even if the person next to you is different than you are, doesn't mean they're not special.
Yeah.
Or if you're different than the person next to you. But I think I'll always remember that.
Like, you have value.
You have value. But I'll always remember that lesson. And I think as, like, a 5-year-old, when I was being read to it, I didn't really get it. But it's something that I remember a lot.
Yeah.
And I get called back to.
Yeah. I do feel like when you get older, you kind of lose the meaning of life. I feel like life feels meaningless. But then when I come back to children's books, I'm like, life is full of meaning. We're all like trying to figure it out.
Okay, so to go into a little bit of scientific stuff, I know next to nothing except for what I have researched. So I do apologize about that, but I did think that's interesting. Like I feel like the obvious that we've already talked about is like books teach kids empathy.
Yeah.
And just like how to be a good person, different things like that. But there was this article that linked a research that was done at Ohio State University, I'm pretty sure. And we'll link all this below if you guys want to read it for yourself. But basically what they found was that as you read to kids of all ages, even like starting like newborns, language is a big thing that they learn through reading. So it said if you have a little newborn and you just read them whatever you're reading, the aspect of just like hearing you speak words that you wouldn't normally say day to day is actually really beneficial.
That's so crazy.
And then as they get older and you start reading more books to them, their vocabulary just widens like crazy. Because like you have all of the words that you say every day, so your kids will learn about that. But as you read, they'll learn about new words. And it also just puts them on track to like learn better in school because you've already started that like exercising their brain.
Yeah.
And kids don't even really realize it's happening. You're just reading to them.
Yeah.
But they are learning all of that.
They're just little sponges.
It even says that research has found that young children whose parents read to them daily has been exposed to at least 100,000 more words by the time they enter kindergarten than kids who aren't read to regularly. That's crazy. That's a lot of words.
290,000 more words by the time they enter kindergarten.
Right? Isn't that crazy?
By the time they're like 4 or 5.
Yeah. And like you could be like reading some like Brandon Sanderson book to like your newborn kid, and they're already starting it.
That's crazy.
It is kind of crazy.
I have heard that babies develop a lot in the first 3 months. Like movement, and it's crazy that it's like their little brains too. That's so
They're
crazy.
developing so fast.
I know. I'm like, dang. I am such a I feel like my brain has slowed down immensely.
The wrinkles have stopped forming.
Yeah. Don't look at it. It's all smooth. But it's so crazy.
Yeah. The other cool thing that I thought that this article talked about was studies have shown that you also just like form a better bond with your parent and child as you read to them. Just like the act of like you have like read before bed, like sitting with them in their bed, reading to them, like even just that itself creates a closer bond.
That's so precious.
Right, which is so cute. And then they just benefit from hearing your voice.
Yeah.
So they can understand tones, different things like that. I know.
You guys, this is why we read. This should have been like our first episode.
We should have done this first.
Yeah.
Start with kids.
Start with kids.
Start simple.
Because I don't know, like you want your kids I don't know, I feel like you use reading as a skill. But also like reading for your imagination, like reading to escape, but also to be able to understand what it means to be human. Like reading is for everybody, and that's like our goal of this podcast is we want people to learn to love to read. We don't want it to be a chore because reading just provides you with so many opportunities to explore life in a way that I don't know you couldn't otherwise.
That's also why we want to hit all genres, like children's books, to show that really any form of reading is going to be beneficial. Yeah,
and like for the parents out there, like this book is so good. Like this book is so good. Callie, like we were texting, and she was like, "The more I read it, the more it gets better."
This is true.
And it's so true. Like you read it, and then you read. I don't know. It's a book that you should reread a lot. I think.
Yes.
Because it is about life and the human mind and the things we tell ourselves. Because I feel like the older, the more easy it is to be like sad or like hopeless. And when you like read this book, it kind of helps you understand like that's okay. Like that is the range of human emotion, but also knowing that you're not alone or like things like that. And I'm just children's books amazing.
They are. Read children's books, man.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have kids.
Yeah. Anyways, that's our spiel.
That's our spiel. I hope you liked it. I hope it wasn't too tangenty.
Yeah. Tangent.
Sure, that's a new word.
Tangent filled. Yeah. What else do we do at the end of our podcast? Do we just end them, or do we like say anything? Next episode, we'll obviously get into the book. We'll get into the book, and we'll talk about the book and our favorite parts, and I don't know, like our experience of reading children's books as adults, but also maybe like what we remember from being kids and reading.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Thank
you
you
guys.
Bye.